Hello everybody, how are you? I'm Fotini, I'm talking to you from Athens, Greece. I am a self-knowledge consultant. I'm an esoteric astrologer. I'm carrying the energies of the High Priestess, and I'm an activator of higher consciousness. And today is Venus Day. As you might know, Freya, Friday, was a Norse goddess of love. And today there is a very beautiful aspect with Venus is transiting her own north node. That's why I remember Freya. That means that she's transiting towards, each planet has south and north node. She is transiting towards her own north node, and she's shining a very beautiful light of love in the day of love, which is Friday. But also today we have Aries, we have Mars in the sign of Aries. So the counterpart, Venus and Mars, are in their own signs. Mars rules Aries and Venus rules Taurus. But there is a but here. Venus is a sacred planet, according to esoteric astrology. Mars is not. So the effect that has Mars through Aries is a challenge. It's not a sacred work, where Venus does the sacred work. And what that means? It means that Venus rules the higher mind, the higher aspect. And this higher aspect is where the soul resides, where Mars rules the personality. According to the Greek myth, Venus and Mars were lovers, not a couple, not an official couple. The official husband of Venus was the son of Hera and Zeus, Hephaestus, the god of who was the master of the technique of handling the iron, molding the iron. But because he was he had a problem with his feet, and he wasn't so handsome, let's say, as Mars, or so fit as the god of war. And because the Greeks believed that Aphrodite, which is an aspect of Venus, considered the goddess of love as being unfaithful, she brought her and Mars together in bed, where Hephaestus caught them. Now, why I'm saying all that and why I'm sharing all that in this channel? When the two planets are in their own signs, they are very powerful. And Aries has to do, as I said, ruled by Mars, with the personality. The personality wants to be bold, wants to be right, wants to move forward. And because we have the fire horse year, there is the element of fire, and especially with the stellium of planets in Aries that it's coming, when Mercury next week enters Aries, we will have Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Aries, and Chiron, all in Aries, 6 planets. And so the element of fire is, from one point, the element of spirit, but it's also an element of distraction when you don't know how to use it. Again, the Greek myth says that Prometheus took the fire from the gods and brought it to the people, and that means that they brought the knowledge of the gods to the people, symbolized by fire. So from one point, fire is spirit, but from the perspective of the humans, fire is both destructive but also brings warmth and is ruled by Vesta. And the element of fire is the element of illumination. We can see, yet the opposite sign, the opposite element, not sign, is water. And what it's going to be? Fire must be blended with water. So either we have a very heat emotion through fire, or the water will seize the fire. What is going to be? Now, for many years, I was wondering about that, and I was communicating with my higher self, because I have the element of fire, not in my chart, because in my chart I have the Grand Trine in water planets, which is very beautiful. And the only planet, I don't have planet in fire, but I have 2 asteroids, 2 Greek goddesses. One is Juno. I have Juno in Leo, which is the best placement for the goddess, the queen of the gods, which is Hera, the wife of Zeus. And I have also Pallas Athena, which is goddess Athena, in the sign of Aries, which means a very sharp mind. But because I'm from the family of Michael, I'm carrying the element of fire within my genes. Whether I have that in my chart or not, it doesn't matter. So my soul put in my chart the Grand Trine in water, so that I can be more soft. And I always trying to find the middle way between being sensitive, which is water, and I was too sensitive, and the other element of me, which is fire, that brought to me impulsiveness, impatience, and going against the grain for quite some time, fighting the injustices, fighting the matrix, and so on. Up to a point where, when my path started and my awakening, and then after my realization, I finally understood and saw right through, which is the energies of the High Priestess, which is Virgo, which is an earth sign, that neither way was helpful. So I had to find the middle way. And the middle way is the way of wisdom, which is the main timeline in Greece. And wisdom has to do with the third eye, walking the narrow path between the extremes, the 2 opposite forces, the one which is fire and the other which is water. Basically, in our human body, fire is spirit, water is human. But also fire is masculine and water is feminine. So, how you bring them together without one losing its force, its essence. So, my house is looking at the west. I'm looking the sunset for almost 7 years now. 7 years, 7 chakras. And I was witnessing the exact time of the sunset when the sun is falling within the sea. Or at least it looks like it. Of course, it isn't like that. And that was, for me, a very good example of how you merge fire and water. And it's how I brought my two totally different parts of me, the masculine and the feminine, together without losing one another, without suppressing one or the other, and by acknowledging the use of each one of these elements. And this is actually love. The union of the opposites. The merging. Because the fire needs water. And water needs fire. And this is the experience of the inner union. And this is the experience of becoming whole. Where the fire of spirit, or the fire of spirit, is the light. And where the water of the human experience, or the feminine, is the nurturing part of life. And this is very representative in how the planets are right now, because everybody is talking about the surge of energy, of fire. But if you don't have mastered fire within, and if you don't know the use of all elements, not only water, but also air and earth, you cannot create, you are not grounded, and you cannot stay upon the earth plane. And this is actually the experience of spirit. That's why spirit is incarnated in different signs, so that spirit can experience the different elements that each psychological archetype brings to the experience. Because your whole, your consciousness, you are all signs together. That's why you have a map with 12 houses, because you are everything. But where you have your planets and your elements is where the focus of the soul must be. So the focus for me was be soft, be in flow, be like the water, which is the grand trine that I have in my chart, and not so fire, which can be impatient, impulsive. And so you can see this stellium from all the planets in Aries, not something danger like everybody's saying, but a chance to be inspired, to bring more inspiration into your life, to elevate your spirit by doing self-knowledge, by having a reading, by doing an activation. And for that particular entrance of Mars in Aries, I wanted to pull 3 cards from my Goddess of Love Tarot, which is has to do with the Divine Feminine and Lady Venus, just to see what the Goddess has to say about this period of the stellium of planets. What does she want to say to her lover, to her partner, or to everybody? What we should take under consideration. So I'm going to pull 3 cards. This is the deck. It's Goddess of Love Tarot by WH-OWL-ISTIC. Yes. And we will see what the Goddess is trying to tell us. So, the first card is 10 of Swords. And that means that we are leaving behind, because this is the past, the overthinking, the constant turmoil of something is going wrong. Because remember what I said at the beginning, you have to master the element of fire and the element of air. Not too many thoughts, not rushing ahead. The energy of the Goddess is totally different. So, let's pull another card for right now. Another issue might be not too much fear, not over analyzing. Swords is over analyzing, thinking, and be present in the moment. There is a very beautiful quote that Archangel Michael had gifted me, as I am part of the family of Michael, in 2019, code 177, the Sword of Truth. And this is for having a steady mind, not letting your mind rushing around with your thoughts. I had a session in my Way of the Rose program today, and I was guiding the woman I had on the program, telling her, because she was asking me, how can I stop all these thoughts? And I told her that this can be done with a sword, but also with training the space in your mind. Because the space in your mind, it's like your home. And imagine that you open the window and the fly is coming in. and you are trying to get it out of your home, but you can't. So either you accept that there is a fly, but you are not fighting the fly, or you will try to get it out of your home, but you won't be afraid of the fly. And that's it. That's how we deal with thoughts. They are intrusive thoughts, but we cannot do anything about the thoughts, and we surely can identify with them, because in that case we become the problem that the thoughts want us to be. So let's go to the second, which is the now moment. And again, 5 of Swords. We went from the 10 of Swords to the 5 of Swords. And this is inner conflict, fighting with others. And it has to do with all this conflict, the different voices that we are hearing. And we have to stop hearing voices and to come to the safe, silent place within. And so now let's take the advice of the goddess. Which is the goddess? 1, the enchantress. So the goddess actually wants us to forget the thoughts, which is the distorted of masculinity, and embody Lady Venus, which is the enchantress. And it's the same, it's the element of magician. We are in charge. The magician exemplifies living aligned with the universe and following your purpose, your dharma, your true will. As the enchantress, the card does not walk the path of asceticism, but instead embodies the idea that desires are sacred and a means of evolution and spiritual growth. She uses sex appeal, wealth, and other material pursuit to fulfill the soul vision. And this is exactly what Venus is. Venus, Lady Venus, is guiding us to find our inner desires. I have posted in my community board, and I would recommend that to everybody, a very sacred ceremony that Goddess Aphrodite has gifted me. I practice it for 15 days now, which is amazing. It's such a rapid, and it has the element of water. It's such a rapid acceleration of fulfilling my desires, but in a very sacred way, because the goddess, the guidance of the goddess is, I'm going to show you that it's easy. I'm going to show you how your desires are sacred, but you have to be in alignment with that, with these desires, and not thinking the fears, which is the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Swords, that prevent you from embodying this desire. Because the 10 of Swords is the past, what happened in the past, and the 5 of Swords is the conflict. It's Aries, it's Mars, is what it's fighting you, your personality, your programming, to embody these desires. And the goddess is coming and saying, no, I'm going to show you how you can embody, how easy it is to embody your desires, how easy it is to be the conduit, the grail of these desires. Check the ceremony. You will be amazed. You can email me and I can send it to you via WeTransfer immediately, wherever you are in the world. There's a sacred ceremony. And especially today and tomorrow, while Venus is crossing her north node, it's right in the peak of, and you're starting this period with the fire element in your softness, without letting yourself be guided by anger or frustration or inner conflict. No, you are embodying your desires without leaving all this fight, all these thoughts outside of your sacred space, which is your body. I hope you enjoy this video. If you want to have a reading with me, you can email me. You can have the ceremony or the course. Everything is available in the community board on my channel. You can subscribe to the channel or leave a like or a comment. I will be grateful. Either way, I will continue to offer and share my wisdom in all areas, and I will be here to do what it feels beautiful and right for me. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.